Polar bears. Several years ago, my daughter Tish's teacher called and said that there was a situation at school. During a discussion about wildlife, she'd mentioned to the class that polar bears were losing their homes and food sources because of the melting ice caps. She showed the students a photo of a dying polar bear as an example of the many effects of global warming. The rest of the kindergartners thought that this was sad information, but not sad enough to keep them from, soldiering on to recess. Not Tish. The teacher reported to me that when the lesson ended and the other kids popped off the carpet to run outside, Tish remained seated, alone, mouth wide open, stunned into paralysis, her little shocked face asking, "What? Did you just say the polar bears are dying? Because the earth is melting? The same earth that we live on? Did you just drop that little tidbit of terror on us at circle time?" Tish eventually made it outside, but was unable to participate in recess that day. The other kids tried to get her off the bench to play foursquare with them, but she remained close to her teacher, wide-eyed, asking, "Do the grown-ups know about this? What are they going to do? Are other animals in trouble too? Where is that hungry polar bear's mom?" For the next month, our family's life revolved around polar bears. We bought polar bear posters and papered Tish's wall with them. "To remember, Mom, I've got to remember." We sponsored 4 polar bears online. We talked about polar bears at dinner, at breakfast, during carpool, and at parties. We discussed polar bears so incessantly, in fact, that after a few weeks, I began to hate polar bears with every fiber of my being. I began to rue the day that polar bears were ever born. I tried everything I could think of to yank Tish out of her polar bear abyss. I coddled her, I snapped at her, and finally, I just lied to her. I asked a friend to send me an official email pretending to be the president of Antarctica, announcing that, once and for all, the ice caps were fixed and all the polar bears were suddenly A-OK. I opened that fraudulent email and called to Tish in her room. "Oh my gosh, baby, come here. Look what I just got. Good news." Tish read the email silently, then turned slowly toward me with a scathing look of scorn. She knew the email was fake because she is sensitive, not stupid. The polar bear saga continued, full force. One night I tucked Tish into bed and was tiptoeing out of her room with the joy of a mother who was almost to the promised land. Everybody's asleep and I've got my couch and carbs and Netflix and no one is allowed to touch me or talk to me until the sun rises, hallelujah. I was closing the door behind me when Tish whispered, "Wait, Mom?" Damn it to hell. "What, honey?" "It's the polar bears." Oh, hell no. I walked back to her bed and stared down at her, a little maniacally. Tish looked up at me and said, "Mommy, I just can't stop thinking. It's the polar bears now, but nobody cares. So next, it's gonna be us." Then she rolled over, fell asleep, and left me all alone in the dark room, stunned into paralysis myself. I stood over her, eyes wide, arms wrapped around my body. "Oh my God! The polar bears! We have to save the mother freaking polar bears! Next it's gonna be us! What is wrong with us?" Then I looked down at my baby and thought, you are not crazy to be heartbroken over the polar bears. The rest of us are crazy not to be.